by God's grace, we have completed Holy Land. We celebrated with solemn celebration the closing of Holy Land this past Friday, and today we celebrate the great feast of the entrance of our Lord to the city of Jerusalem. To understand fully what we celebrate today and what's the great impact, because even St. John the Apostle and Evangelist was bold enough in his gospel, as we heard today, to admit that when this was happening, the apostles had not a full understanding of what was going on, and only after the Lord was glorified, they could fully connect that with the rest of the biblical prophecies, the messianic prophecies about our Redeemer. If we go back to the Old Testament, to the first book of Kingdoms, in American Bibles that appears as 1 Samuel, but in the Orthodox Bible it's the First Kingdom, we see that when Samuel, the last judge of Israel, when he got old, the Israelites were complaining that they don't have a king, and they needed a king because all nations have kings. And would it be so bad to have a king? I would say it is sad that about 3,000 years later we kind of having the same discussion today. But the prophet and judge Samuel responded and said that Israel was not like other nations, and to have a king would be a horrible idea. And he explained the reasons. They kept insisting. So the Lord eventually responded to Samuel and said, give them what they want, because after all, they haven't rejected you, they have rejected me. And the story from there goes, the first king of Israel was Saul, then David. Then we have 3 more books for kingdoms to read, and the story of kingship and royalty in Israel, as I would say in world's history at large, was a total failure. There were admittedly some good kings, such as David or Josiah, but these kings were only the exception. Today, a messianic prophecy is fulfilled with the Lord entering Jerusalem. A messianic prophecy told by the prophet Zechariah. Behold, Jerusalem, your king is entering in glory, riding the colt of a donkey. That prophecy, we only have this passage in today's gospel reading, but the whole prophecy says that this king will come, will destroy every weapon and every arm, and he will establish peace. The church yesterday and today invited us not just remember the story, but actively take part in the story. How? In this scene, besides the Lord and the apostles, was a big crowd of people. A big crowd of people that, some out of curiosity, having went out to see who was the one who raised Lazarus from the dead. And out of respect, they went there and they invited and welcomed Christ holding palm branches. Hosanna, blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. Alas, because in short 6 days, it will be the same crowd that they will be yelling and shouting, crucify him, crucify him. The same crowd, the people of Jerusalem. But I said before that the church invite us to actively participate in story. And it calls us to be like the children. The children made the difference in this story, because the children were the ones that they cried out, and out of their heart welcomed Christ. Another prophecy to be fulfilled here, out of the mouths of babes. But the Lord said something else that will make sense not today, but 5 days from now, when we will hear the readings on Holy Thursday. The Lord said, if these kids were silenced, then the stones will have to cry out. And in his crucifixion, the moment he died, there were no children around to cry out his divinity, his divine glory. So the stones were the ones that took up that task, and there was an earthquake, and the whole ground shook, and the rocks were cracked and broken. So let us be like the children, as the church invites us to do so. And let's keep this excitement in our heart. Another prophet, the prophet Hosea, speaking on behalf of the Lord, as all the prophets did, says, alas, Israel, your faith is like the morning dew. At first covers everything, but when the sun comes up, it disappears. It completely disappears. So this Holy Week, let's do this as, let's set this goal, that we will keep in our heart that love, that longing for God, that we will try to cherish it. As much as we are troubled with the heat of the day, with all the troubles, with all the problems, with all the things that need to be taken care of, that especially this coming week, we will give a little more time to Him who gave us everything. God bless you. Καλή Μεγάλη Εβδομάδα, blessed Holy Week και καλή Ανάσταση. And happy Easter to all of you.